Recording in progress.
Good morning to everybody.
Good morning, Chair.
Good morning. How are you, Mama Jay?
All is well, Ba.
Thank you very much.
We are ready.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. Do we have apologies? I have an apology from Honorable Swart, who will not be joining us today. Are there any further apologies?
Yes, Chair. At 10, I have another quick meeting, so we'll have to go and chair that meeting, then come back to this meeting. Thank you. It will be short.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ngola.
Chairperson, good
Honorable
morning.
Mkhwebane.
Yes, Chairperson, I'm flying at, I think, 10:20, so I might not finish the meeting.
Okay, that will be noted. Thank you very much. I guess there are no further apologies. Can we proceed? Can we invite Honorable Ms. Silkstone to take us through the legacy report, the Justice Legacy Report? Or maybe before, maybe let's start with the minutes so that when other members leave, we would have adopted the previous minutes. Then thereafter, we would take the legacy report. Would that be in order?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. Draft minutes of the Portfolio Committee on Justice and Correctional Services, 27 February 2024. Consideration and adoption of draft legacy reports with the Department of Correctional Services. Consideration and adoption of draft minutes. Any corrections on page 1? Page 2? Page 3? Page 4? Page 5? Page 6? Any mover for the adoption of the minutes?
Chair,
Honorable Jelle.
I move for the adoption of the minutes.
Honorable Jelle moves. Any seconder?
Seconded, Chair.
Honorable Ngola seconds. Any objections? No objections. The minutes are agreed to. Committee Secretary, are those the only minutes we have? Thank you. Draft minutes of the Portfolio Committee on Justice and Correctional Services, 28 February 2023. Presentation by the committee researcher on the guidelines on the shortlisting of the Deputy Public Protector position, shortlisting of candidate for position of Deputy Public Protector, consideration and adoption of the draft committee report on magistrates' disciplinary matters, and the draft report and the draft amendments to directives submitted to Parliament for approval in terms of Section 97 of the Child Justice Act of 2008. The minutes were circulated are taken as read. Any corrections on page 1? Page 2? Page 3? Page 4? Page 5? Any mover for the adoption of the minutes?
Chair, I move
Honorable
for
Honorable Basego Jelemos, Honorable Nivo Jochens seconds. Any objections? No objections. The minutes are agreed to. Thank you very much. I suspect those are the last set of minutes, Committee Secretary. Am I correct?
Yes, you're correct, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can we now invite Ms. Silkstone to take us through the Justice Legacy report?
Yes, Chair. I'm just going to ask Sia to share it, and then Sia, will you be able to just do the slideshow for me? So it's just easier for me to talk to my document. Yeah.
Welcome back, Ms. Silkstone. We know that you are not well. We hope that you are better now.
No, I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you very much. So on the first page, Sia, is it there? So we worked with the template, adjusted a little bit to fit what we did, but the first few pages are really a kind of almost like an executive summary of the report. So looking at the first thing, the reflection on the committee program and whether the objectives were achieved, here I gave highlights of the groups of activities that we did over the 5-year term. But really, what I really wanted to do at the beginning was to reflect that our program was affected by our workload, and that with the onset of COVID-19 and the lockdown that followed, the entire way that we are used to working changed, and virtual meetings as opposed to meetings. Or largely virtual meetings, and then this trend has continued with the fire at the precinct that has really kind of created a logistical problem around meeting rooms. And then I also wanted to reflect on that with the onset of COVID-19, it wasn't just that we moved to virtual meetings. We weren't able to travel in the way that we did. So oversight was kind of first 2 years really of our term were quite badly affected as well. And then in terms of our legislative program, we considered and reported on 23 bills. In that 23 bills, and we'll look at that when we get to the table on legislation, what I haven't included are that they were private bills that were sent to us. No, those are, yeah, I haven't included those, and then I haven't included the ones that we haven't considered, sorry, and then also the bills that were sent back from the NCOP for concurrence. There were 3 bills. And then in terms of the budget review and recommendations, we really just met all our targets, but the drawback was that because of our workload, we weren't able to meet each quarter. In terms of oversight, we held various meetings on identified oversight issues, and we undertook visits to courts and justice service points, and I included correctional centres in all provinces with a focus on the state of the infrastructure. We also held, there's a spelling mistake, a workshop on briefing patterns within state legal service in November 2023. Then we made appointments to the South African Human Rights Commission, the Information Regulator, and deputy to the Public Protector, the position of Deputy Public Protector. In terms of removals, we were tasked with considering and making recommendations concerning the removal of Advocate Jiba and Moebi, and then we also had to make recommendations concerning the removal from office of judges Schlope and Matata. In terms of magistrates' disciplinary matters, I've reflected all magistrates' matters that we considered in the period under review. Engagements with Chapter 9 institutions. Here we met biannually with the South African Human Rights Commission and the Public Protector and the Information Regulator, although that they, and as well as JICS. I really should say engagement with Chapter 9 institutions and other independent institutions. Okay, we can go to the next page, Thea. Thea. Thanks. And then our focus areas, this I took largely from our strategic plan, and then stuff that we've all been doing, the emerging focuses that we've had over the period, and I've listed them. I think I won't go through them now because we do cover them all in the body of the report. There, you can move past this section. And then key areas for future work. Here, again, I think I do cover this later in the report, so let me rather deal with those there. There we can go to page 5. And then to 6, I think, on to the next section. And then the key challenges emerging. It's the extent of the portfolio, which is characterized by the emergence of urgent priorities, which places considerable pressure on the committee's ability to plan and achieve a balanced program. And then I reflect on the legislative workload, and that workload really affects the time available for oversight and other activities, including capacity building. And then in addition, certain bills must be prioritized as they emanate from decisions of the Constitutional Court and have deadlines that must be met to comply with the relevant court order. Then the timing of the BRRR annual report process, weeks allocated, an extremely short period, and the week or so between the tabling of the annual reports and the beginning of it's more like 10 days, and the beginning of the BRRR hearings doesn't give us very much time in which to really grapple and engage as a committee with those BRRR reports. Then the opportunity for public participation, because we are dealing with such an enormous portfolio, the 2 weeks that are actually allocated for BRRR, there's very little time for us to have kind of the extent of to have a public participation element, which would have been nice to enrich our understanding of the actual performance of the departments. We can scroll down. Then recommendations. Here I make the recommendations. I think perhaps let me deal with those at the end. Okay, Sia, can we go to the body of the report? Okay, so the first one is really, it's all introduction. So it's the introduction, the functions of the committee. I'm not going to go through this stuff because this is really, all of it. And then just going to the method of work, I reflected a little bit on the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. And then the other thing that we also decided to do that's different in this committee is that we established the subcommittee on correctional services with a dedicated day. And then I also just reflected in terms of the kind of processes developed or followed that are unique to this parliament. So I reflect on our legislation, and then the next two, just scroll down. Sia. Not the activities, just further down towards the stuff. It's our activities concerning the appointment of public office bearers. Yeah, Parliament doesn't have official guidelines or rules around the appointment of office bearers, and we've developed our own practice, which is now regarded as best practice with Parliament. And then I also just reflect on the processes that we developed in terms of the removal of the judges in terms of Section 177. You can carry on. Carry on. 1.3 is just about the departments, entities, and institutions falling within the committee's portfolio. You can just move past this. Okay. So we identified various priorities for oversight. I'm not going to go into them in detail. I'm just going to read them out as they are. The first one is addressing the audit opinion, the qualified audit opinion in the Department of Justice. The backlogs, the issue of improved service delivery. There was a focus on Justice College, the Integrated Criminal Justice Strategy, the IJS. You can carry on, Sia. The transformation of state legal services. Carry on. Tackling the occurrence of fraud and corruption, a transformed legal profession. You can go down. The Capital Works Program, which includes the building of new court buildings, maintenance and repair of court buildings, justice service points, and office accommodation. Eradicating gender-based violence. Carry on. The implementation of the Child Justice Act, the Master's Office. '21. And then in the MP, it was around the issue of the vacancies that we found when we first started. And then the next one is your investigating directorate and your AFU issues. The effectiveness of the SIU was another one. That was under the SIU. Then under Legal Aid South Africa, it was really about transfer of the land representation function and the company allocation to Legal Aid South Africa. Under the information regulator, it was its capacitation. And under the OCJ, it was the progress in transferring the administration of the Magistrates Commission to the OCJ. Then in terms of our key statistics, we have held at the end of 2023, 313 meetings. So we will most definitely hold many more than that. Those meetings held do not include the oversight that we did. So we've actually met far more than 313 times. In the period under review, the legislation reported it's 23. The oversight trips undertaken, there's 2 trips, and then a meeting with the Chief Justice. And in 2024, there will be a meeting with the Magistrates Commission. Study tours, and we had none. And international agreements, there were 4. Statutory appointments. Oops. Sorry. I think that I didn't put in all the ones that were in here. I'll correct that. Not too sure what happened. Carry on down. Okay, so there's a long list of all this is the legislation, is item 3. Sia, can you get towards the end of this? There's lots and lots of legislation, so. Okay. I just wanted to just tell you what I did in terms of the commentary. Can you just go up a little bit, Sia? Okay, so we can move past the highlights. Those are just some of the bills that I thought were noteworthy. Members may want to add or disagree with me on this one. Then the emergency challenges really is just the workload and the prioritization of the Constitutional Court orders and the impact on our program. The capacity issues and its impact as well on not only within the department, also on members, parliamentary staff, and departmental officials. Okay, then carry on down. And then I just want to say that I think when we process the cannabis for private purposes bill, it was the absence of a comprehensive or a clear policy that really created a great deal of confusion and difficulty for us when we processed that bill, and also delayed our processing of that piece of legislation. It's just noting that's important when legislation comes to us. Well, ideally, that there is a clear policy guidelines behind that, plan behind that before the legislation is introduced. Okay, down to 49. The issues for follow-up, it was the National Prosecuting Authority Act and the comprehensive overhaul. That was really highlighted when we processed the MPA amendment bill last year. And then also comprehensive overhaul of RICA. Carry on down. The Convention for the Protection of All Persons Forced Disappearance incorporated. And in terms of the SIU founding legislation overhauled. Okay, and then in terms of the Constitutional Court judgments, here I've just reflected on a couple of the judgments that will require legislative amendments in the 7th Parliament. I'm not going to go into all of them, but I got this from the Legal Services Department, and I just thought let's just reflect. Carry on down here. Okay, so section 4 deals with our oversight visits. So we can carry on down. I list all the places that we visited on our oversight trips. Then I identify the systemic challenges. Carry on down. And then I reflect on the follow-up meetings that we had as well. On 5, unfortunately, we didn't undertake any study tours to our work with COVID-19. International agreements, there were 4 international agreements that we processed, carried on through. I didn't think that we had any challenges with that, but just as I mentioned that the Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance needs to be incorporated to our domestic law. And then going on to statutory appointment. Here I list all our appointments or recommendations. Carry on down. Carry on the challenges that there were no guidelines, that we made our own. And then the issues for follow-up. The role of the OISD in this whole process requires further clarification. And then there is an outstanding appointment in terms of Commissioner Choan at the Human Rights Commission. South African Human Rights Commission has tendered her resignation with effect from 1 April 2024. So this will need to be followed up in the 7th Parliament. We had no interventions, no petitions, and then 10 deals with our magistrates' obligations confirmed on committee by legislation. So our magistrates' disciplinary inquiries, there are lists them. Carry on down. I reflect on some of the challenges emerging. There may be a couple of more challenges that come up when we meet with the actual Magistrates Commission, but it's really the duration of the disciplinary processes, and that there was this puzzling division in the Commission, even on the sanction, even where the presiding officer had found the person guilty and recommended suspension or removal from office. I refer to the Hinkster and the Ross matters. The placement of the Magistrates Commission within the Justice and Constitutional Development Board, sorry, it shouldn't be the vote, it should be the department, sorry, rather than the OCJ, as is the case with the JSC. And then the need for additional capacity at the Magistrates Commission, especially with the appointment of Investigate, and the need to revise the Magistrates Act as it relates to disciplinary matters. We can carry on. Yeah, just the annual budget process and the BRRRs. And then just in terms of challenges, it's just around just a reflection on the whole situation with the NPA. Now, before 2014, the NPA was actually from reporting within Justice, Department of Justice. It had its own CFO, and it produced its own annual financial statement. Yeah, can you just carry on down? And just a reflection that the NDP has reflected that this is not a satisfactory situation. Then the other thing is that we just haven't had time to regularly meet and consistently meet quarterly on the budget and performance of departments. And I think this is a real problem for oversight. And I've already reflected on the timing of the BRRR and annual report process, the role of the budget office. Yeah. Oh, sorry, there's a sentence that shouldn't be there. What I really want to say is that when the budget office was established, the agreement was that it would finance really just the finance committees, but there really needs to be some kind of role that it has with the to give support to other committees. Then the response from the Minister of Finance is normally very brief, and I think that a more meaningful feedback would be important. Opportunity for public participation, I've also reflected on that. Then 11 is the other matters referred, and you can see that we have a huge number of matters that were referred to us. You can carry on down to the end. There, just scroll down. These are the matters that were only referred to us in terms for consideration report. We also had other matters for consideration and just others that were just referred. So the challenges emerging, there were none. However, just an emerging issue that we seem to now be getting reports of the Independent Commission for the Remuneration of Public Office Bearers as well. So that is an increase to our workload, although it was only for consideration. And then we've also been tasked with approving the salary increases, or the National Assembly has, for the Chapter 9 institutions, although this was done in the past by the executive. And I just reflect here, initially there was some doubt as to who would brief the committee on behalf of the President regarding the salary recommendations, but we came to the solution of asking the Deputy Minister, or the Ministry really, to come and represent the Presidency and present those particular salary increases. And the issue to follow up, the salary and benefits of the office bearers of constitutional institutions requires comprehensive review. And I've just had a thought, we also always almost annually get a thing from magistrates, so we should probably also just reflect on the magistrates as well around these salaries and benefits. And then here's a summary of outstanding issues. It's an improved audit outcome. So you can just carry on down. Just going to read out the headings. The backlogs again. The integrated criminal justice strategy. The infrastructure. Transformation of state legal services. The corruption within the department. I must just say the Justice Department, I think here. Court modernization and digitalization. The Master's Office. Annual reports of the implementation of the Child Justice Act and the Sexual Offences Act. The APP, the Aspirin Prosecutors Program, and the MPA, grey listing. And I'm sorry, I don't know why I didn't keep this in, but also the continuing to look at the capacitation of in the ID and the AFU. And the TRC, carry on down. And capacitation of the information regulator. Finalization of the policy on judicial governance and court administration policy. The Judicial Services Commission reports. The Public Protector Act. Here we also need new amending legislation required to bring the Act in line with the Constitution. And then the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture, Zondo Commission. And then lastly, in terms of recommendations, that the portfolio is separated into different committees. At a institutional level, a system for more effective tracking and following up of recommendations made is developed. That public hearings for the budget and BRRR process are included as part of the parliamentary program for committees to enhance public participation. So here I'm not just saying that there's space made available within the parliamentary program, like dedicated slots. Then the parliamentary program for committees should schedule the holding of quarterly meetings to address performance as well as expenditure. Again, that these are incorporated as part of the parliamentary program. That there's a parliamentary SOP developed so that SCOPA informs overseeing portfolio committees of relevant meetings and provides supporting documentation. And then the same there should also be a SOP to assist committees when interacting with SCO on recommendations concerning budgeting contained in the budget and the BRRR report. The portfolio related monitoring tools are developed. So, for example, a court visiting tool is developed so that members can go off on their own and visit a court, but will have kind of a standardized way of reporting back to the committee. And that the parliamentary, and then also that oversight of infrastructure related items should be undertaken in close conjunction with the portfolio committee responsible for public works. That the parliamentary program should include an opportunity for regular programming of cluster. and that members are continuously capacitated through focused training, and that there's opportunities to participate in sector-specific workshops, symposiums, and conferences, and undertake international study tours. Okay, thank you. I know that was very long.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sengstrom. Members, that is the legacy report. Any comments? Honorable Horn, followed by Honorable Newbold, Tuhan, Honorable Janche, in that order.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and good morning to you and to all colleagues. Well, firstly, Chair, I think we owe a big debt to Ms. Silkstone and the team for what is clearly a well-considered and well-drafted legacy report. And yeah, I think whilst specific, some represented parties might have different focuses on or different points that we would want to emphasize in respect of the what needs to be done during the 7th Parliament. I think what ultimately was achieved is a well-balanced report that accurately reflects with what this committee was busy and what is, I want to say, unfinished business. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Horn. Honorable Newbold, Tuhan.
Thank you, Chairperson. Please bear with me. Can you maybe show the document? I'll give you which page number to go to. Okay, just a moment, sorry. Can you go to page 5? Go down to page 5. Page 5. There's the point where it speaks about the Child Justice Bill. The age to be considered. We have considered the age to, between 12 and 14. Is it correct to say the age to be considered? I can't see it because it's very small now. Yeah, so and then just that, and then page 56, just above 0.5, page 56. Go down. Just above 0.5, the sentence is not finished. Regrettably, the Minister of Justice, and then it stops. So that sentence is not complete. So I think the minister wasn't available or he wasn't there. So just to correct that. And then just one thing, I can't remember where and which page it was, but while I was reading, I think it was under challenges that the committee faced. I think it was under there where the committee said the department submitted bills late, and then the department doesn't have didn't have any capacity. So, you know, from the committee's perspective, those were the challenges, but we didn't really say what the department said, what they will be doing about the challenges. Maybe in the 7th Parliament or before the 7th Parliament really starts, they can, you know, ask the department the challenges with regards to bills submitted late, the capacity problem, what will they be doing before the 5-year term starts, so that the new committee can ask that to the department, because we didn't really say we only give the committee's view on what the challenges were, but we don't really come with the resolutions from the department. So yeah, thank you very much, Christine, for working on this very big report. Thank you so much. And can you then unpin Honorable Neo Druchen, please?
Thank you very much, Honorable Janji.
No, thank you, Chair, and good morning, everybody. And I also want to add my voice in appreciating the work put into this legacy report. I have just a couple of comments to, in fact, a way of adding to some of the things that have been raised here, Chair. Firstly, to start with legislation, I think the report captures it, but I think there is a need for an emphasis. At the beginning, you say that the departments, correctional and justice, have been very slow, and then you go on to explain what we know, which is a problem that needs to be fixed, the capacity in those departments on this. I think that's very good, but also I think we also need to go beyond that, because the delays cannot just be attributed to the capacity within those departments, or even the slowness of the committee. There's a very serious issue from the executive on these bills. And during this term, we would have referred to those as hospital passes, that they sit on these bills for very long times, and they just push things over to both us and the NCOP on the eve of whatever deadline or a short space of time. And just to share, Chair, in that regard, last Friday in the Joint Rules Committee, which we are meeting again this Friday, there's a new role being introduced to assist both the NCOP and NA around the issues of legislation, where we would require the executive to what we call to give us heads up. There's a heads up mechanism. They need to indicate at what point is there legislation and inform Parliament, whether it's at a conception, so that we're able to prepare our program, but also our own capacities. So there's going to be a new role that is introduced to force a timeless heads up to Parliament. It seems that that's the only way that we are going to have to close that gap of avoiding this hospital pass. Then the second point I want to raise, Chair, is in relation to the point she makes about study tours. And I don't agree the way it's put in the report. It just says we didn't do study tours. I don't agree. With all of the lot of work that we had, legislation, oversight, and everything else, this being the busiest committee that meets more than twice a week, we had planned a very comprehensive study tour, exchange tour. And it's got to be put correctly, because when you say we didn't do, it's like this committee had no interest and didn't even identify issues. And we identified topics that we wanted to go on tour and or on an exchange program. Those, to me, remain relevant as part of the legacy report for the new committee, not to do it on the 4th year, very early on to do that, because we were stopped from doing that on the basis of finance. Purely, that was the issue that we're told. So to just put it mildly in a way of saying we didn't do study tours, it's not helpful as part of our legacy report that we're putting forward. And the third point, Chair, is around these areas I call blind spot oversight. You know, the kind of oversight that we almost sometimes forget about it, but it reminds us rudely sometimes. And that has to do, and the points have been mentioned here. Firstly, the JSC. And there's no emphasis on this. The JSC Act puts JSC to account to us annually in terms of their annual report. Now, it's not mentioned here. We've not done that for the 5 years. And I don't think we can continue doing that, because therefore the failure of not oversighting JSC becomes our problem. And it's also, if we don't programatize that and put that in our program, it's a serious failure. So I think it's important that we take that. I'm covered with the magistracy. Well, on the issue of the Remuneration Commission, I'm hearing it for the first time. I might have missed that there was something like that was referred to us. I would have missed when it was tabled for us to discuss whether it belongs to us or not. And then the fourth aspect, Chair, I might have missed in the report, this issue of the emphasis on the infrastructure and ICT in courts. And here I'm reminded about the meeting we had with the Chief Justice and those justices, where we made commitments of certain things that will come back about. And I'm not sure whether we're happy with whether the report covers that properly. Then the last point, Chair, just more of an elaboration or added reason. The point here is made of there needs to be a salary review of those heads of institutions or commissioners or people in those institutions of democracy. It doesn't explain, because you might want to add a sentence or two with the reason and rationale why you will make that point. We can't just drop that point as if we were just a union that is looking for salaries. There has to be a reason why we make that point. And the person who will read this report, the new MPs, will not understand why we're making this point. And then it's going to be open to all sorts of interpretation and so on. It might be helpful to say that it must be, we think it must be reviewed, firstly, because there's no consistency amongst them. As an example, that this is what you have for the public protector, this is what you had for South African Human Rights Commission, it's not consistent, and so on. If that's a point we're making, a little bit of elaboration is needed, so it doesn't become a throwaway kind of comment. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Janchi. Honorable Jele.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning to our colleagues. And let me, Chair, add my voice in really appreciating the work done by the team, Ms. Silstone, and the report that they have really compiled for us. We really appreciate and applaud the good work that they have done, and they have been doing for us, Chair, for the past 5 years. We really appreciate, and we hope that they receive more strength for the next committee to work the same way they worked with us, satisfactory. Chair, I think on the issue of the late bills, I'm covered. I think Honorable Nibud Drachen covered me, but just to add one Chair's thing, I think also we need, whilst we are here, we also need to make a recommendation maybe to the Deputy Minister whilst he's still here, or the Minister, make a recommendation that this, because they are not going, their term, some of them, their term I mean the officials. They will still be part of the next term. So make a recommendation that they start working on that. Maybe they come up with a report as to how they are going to deal with that issue of late submission of the bills to the committee. I'm not sure if that will help because it's late, but it's just a proposal. Lastly, Chair, it is on the issue of the enhancement of the public participation as part of the oversight. I think we did very well in meeting all those bodies, the professional bodies, meeting everybody. But I think, I'm not sure, but it's just a proposal in the recommendation for the next coming committee that how about maybe also trying to bridge the gap, because we were dealing mostly with the professionals. Yes, our public participation, we did it, but I still feel that that those ordinary people on the ground, they still need much of our attention. So I would request that maybe the next committee, they also consider having some session with ordinary South Africans on the ground and hear them. I'm not sure how that can be arranged, but it should be part of public participation. Our people on the ground, Chair, they don't have money, they don't have knowledge of some of the knowledge. I think the knowledge that we have as people who are at least exposed to these things, they still need more of us. And also, it will assist, Chair, in making some good contribution, because there's this the amendment that is coming of the CPA. So I think that amendment, the amendments that they are coming up with, it will be good that they are also informed by ordinary people on the ground, not only people who are learned, people who are educated. Even those who are not educated, they might be saying some things that they are not maybe in line with what is needed in terms of the laws, but let them give their voice, and then let's hear them, so that we shape our Criminal Procedure Act and also the laws of the country, accommodating all the voices. Chair, thank you. That's my comment. I don't know how you're going to put it, but it's my view. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable Breitenbach.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to everybody. Yes, thank you for a very comprehensive legacy report. I think it's been captured exceptionally well and effectively and efficiently, as we have become used to and rather spoilt, I suppose, by the support staff that we have in this committee. So very well done, and thank you. I've been covered, Chair, by Honourable Janki. I think that the refusal to allow us to go on a study tour as a result of a lack of funds was at best, doubtful. I don't believe it for one moment. And so, yes, we worked quite hard on preparing what we thought would be a good stretch of subject matter to cover. So I think we should say it like it is. And then, Chair, I'd like to emphasize the fact that the JSC does not report as it should, and that a new committee should be more forceful in that regard. Thanks, Chair.
No, thank you very much. Let me also add my voice in thanking the research unit for the good report. I think both reports were good. We said the correctional services one needs to be firm up a bit, but it was also a good report. And this one is also a very good report. Let me take this opportunity also to thank you, the research unit, the secretariat, for the hard work we have put in ensuring that you support this committee with its heavy workload. What I would suggest we do is that if you can bring back this report, but in bringing back the report, you just highlight the areas of corrections. For instance, there were issues that were raised by Honorable Nevot Tuchan that needed to be corrected. And there were also additions and matters of emphasis by other honorable members. It would be important that they say finally again before us, but we don't go through the whole report. Even with the correctional services one, we just want to look at the areas that we said needs to be built up, and even here areas where we want more emphasis, and areas where there were corrections, like what Honorable Nevot Johan raised, and all the areas that members have generally raised. One issue which I think it might not be part of the report, but I generally think that Parliament as a whole should be seized with this question. What should be the world of work in as far as Parliament is concerned look like post-COVID? How should Parliament deal with the issue that at some point we would have Parliament restored? But how do we ensure, or do we think that it would be important that we continue to integrate technology with physical sittings, both for the sitting of Parliament, the sitting of committees, how we do oversight work? How do we deal with the issue of integrating technology that was seriously introduced or imposed on us by COVID-19? Do we say that after everything is back to normal, when Parliament buildings are restored, we will just go back to the world as we know it, or we will move with the new world? And I think there's a discussion that it's not only should be a committee discussion, it's a discussion that Parliament should be seized with. I thought that that might need to be really highlighted. Because, for instance, when we were dealing with the cannabis bill, a number of submissions or a number of people or organizations who appeared before us, who had an opportunity to appear before us, they appeared before us because Zoom is much more cheaper than getting a ticket, flying to Cape Town, being accommodated in a hotel. So to that extent, the technology made public participation to be much more accessible. But Honorable Taylor is saying we should be going beyond that, like other committees, the Bella bill, how it was processed, the GLAP bill in intelligence, but that is always a decision that a committee would always need to take on a bill-by-bill basis, because if you have 23 bills that you are processing over a period of 5 years, Parliament would find it very difficult that it can find every bill for us to visit all the provinces. So the committee would need to prioritize bills that it would think that for this particular bill, really you would need to do provincial visits and to get views from a general population, and we always do. But there would be other bills that are very technical, that even if you invite people, even those who have resources, very few people respond. So it will be a cost-benefit analysis that would need to be done on a bill-by-bill basis, which means that there will still need be a lot of planning, both by the executive and by Parliament. Honorable Janche raises a point of hospital passes and the fact that bills are brought to us just on the 11th hour, like the cannabis bill that was brought to us 2 weeks before the expiry of the Constitutional Court deadline. But the question is that there is a medium-term strategic framework. So members of the executive, they know what must happen for the whole term. And on the basis of that, they should be breaking that program into legislation, and they should be knowing that in the next 5 years, these are the bills that they want to introduce. We're excluding the bills that are imposed by Constitutional Court deadlines. But when you exclude those bills that are imposed by Constitutional Court deadlines, any other thing, it's something that is within their control, and failure to do that is just failure to plan. So it would be, and that failure to plan put a lot of unbearable pressure on the legislative drafters, eventually on Parliament. So the executive will need to plan much better. They must reduce their medium-term strategic framework into workable projects, and including legislations. And that, I think with that one, then it will be easier for them to have a better planned program throughout the year that does not put everybody under pressure unnecessarily. But I think Mr. Stone and to your team, thank you very much. If you can just work on the few issues that were raised, and you can present the document again for a final approval. Thank you very much. And then can we now invite Honorable Janche to take us through the presentation for the Thabo Bester meeting?
Well, you asked me to do it tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow, my apologies, yes.
We're ready for Wednesday.
Because,
it's today.
Yeah, okay. No, that's fine. Because we would need immediately after we have agreed on the agenda to start making preparations, even inviting people on time. We know that especially when we deal with external stakeholders in a situation of this nature, that they would want to be invited on time. So tomorrow we will have that meeting. Honorable Janche will be taking us through. Mr. Matabate, are you ready with the revised report, or you also want to do it tomorrow?
We are ready, Chair.
Okay, please. Maybe before you proceed, I get a sense that I'm not sure whether Ms. Silkstone, did you receive reports from members who are responsible for various provinces?
I have seen some of them, but I haven't really seen them in a considered way. Yeah.
No, I think it would be important that all reports are received, because that answers the issue that Honorable Judge raised, that we met with the heads of courts, we made certain undertakings, and it would be important that we have sort of a report that would go to, I think, the Chief Justice to say this is what we have done since the last time we met. Remember, we met with the heads of courts, the Chief Justice twice. It was Chief Justice Mukhwem and Chief Justice Sondo. We met with various judges, presidents, and the president of the SCA. So it would be good that we have a comprehensive report, just to say this is what the committee has done in relation to the issues that were raised by the heads of courts. Then our engagement with them, they would see that Parliament, it was not a talk show. We might not have achieved much, but I think in terms of pushing for responses and responsiveness, especially by the Department of Public Works, in certain provinces, there are some tangibles that need to be highlighted to see that the committee indeed really it did its work. Honorable Jelle?
No, Chair, it's just a question. I want to find out if maybe, let me just switch this thing off. I just wanted to find out, does that also talks to those bodies, legal bodies that we have met with, maybe saying something about some of the things that they have raised, including the issue of the workshop that we have, those issues that we were raised in those workshops. In summary, does that include that, what you are saying? Thank you.
This one we are reporting to another branch of state, which is the judiciary, that we met. I think it's because the judges' precedents that we met raise specific issues. Honorable Horn would know about the issues that were raised in Mpumalanga and the follow-ups that happened then thereafter. So it would be important that the committee says, as the legislature, this is what we were able to do, and this is the report, Chief Justice. And if we go through the report by Ms. Silkstone, she has even reported on the workshop that we have had, and the fact that the proposal is that we must have it at least twice for a continuous feedback and reporting to the legal bodies or to the profession. But the one that we are talking about is a separate one to the judiciary.
No, can I come back, Chair? Maybe just a little bit. No, I saw that one, but I was saying highlighting maybe or maybe when he says we might have 2 workshops, let me make an example with that one. Are we saying in order maybe that will also be sufficient to address the issues that they were raising maybe in the workshop that we had? Is that maybe the impression that we are saying we left things as they are, so maybe those workshops that they will be having in future, they will continually attending to those issues? Is that what we are trying to communicate with that. Thank you, Chair. That's what I wanted to understand.
She will answer, but I don't think that is what she meant. Because, for instance, we are going as part of the matters arising from that workshop. That is why we want Minister Patel to come and explain where is the legal sector code. That arises out of that particular meeting. So most of that work is integrated in our oversight work. But we said specifically to that issue of the legal profession and the legal bodies. But we will continue meeting with them just to give feedback. But most of the issues that they are raising are integrated in our day-to-day oversight work. That is why we are going to be meeting even with Minister Patel. Ms. Silverstone?
No, I just wanted to say that I have prepared a draft report on that workshop on briefing patterns, and I will distribute it this week as well for members to look at.
Okay. Honorable Jelle, are you covered?
I'm covered. I'm just sending my thumb there. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. There's something, but I just forgot what I wanted to raise. But that's fine. But thank you very much, Mr. Stone. We will schedule another meeting where we will just go through the issues that were raised to ensure that they have been captured. And maybe in that meeting, you can also take us through the other reports of the one of the workshop. Honorable Horn.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. While we are on, let's say, matters winding down and programming, so to speak, do we have an indication as to for when or by when the interviews with the candidates for the Deputy Public Protector will be scheduled?
Yes. We had identified the 13th, Wednesday the 13th, to do the interviews. We were going to deal with it as a way of announcements. But since you have asked, we have identified the 13th of March. Are you covered?
I am indebted to you, and my apologies for stealing your thunder.
No problem. But thank you very much. I think it was good that you asked so that everybody prepares for that day. In fact, it will be our week, because I've been informed that on the 12th, all our reports of the magistrates and the directives will be on the 12th, which means on Tuesday, and then the following day we will continue with the interviews of the Deputy Public Protector. Thank you very much. Let's move to the next presentation. Just focus on those areas that we said you must go in before.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks to members, and good morning to everyone. Yeah, on page 2, all the areas that we said we need to beef up, we've highlighted them with yellow color. On page 2, it's on our summary of the report on the recommendations that we spoke about, that we need to have the Portfolio Committee on Justice and Correctional Services separated, so that each department should report to its own portfolio committee. But on the body of the report, we go into much detail, as the chair suggests. To go
Members,
through.
can you repeat that you were cut for some time?
Oh, sorry, Chair. I think I'm saying on page 5, members requested that we go into details in respect of the agenda items of all the meetings that we had. That's what we've done from 2019-20 until 2023-24, all the meetings that we had, all the agenda items, so that the next committee could see what were the issues that we dealt with. So these are all the meetings that we had and the agenda items. And on page 8, we looked at some of the positives that were achieved by the department and JICS. We've seen in the department made some improvements in terms of the performance from 70% in 2020-21 to 80% in 2021-22. There were reductions in escapes from 117 in 2020-21 to only 27 in 2022-23. There was some improvement in the working relationship between JICS and DCS. There was the pass rate of 77% registered. JICS managed to clear its backlog on complaints. JICS did not incur any unauthorized, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure in the period that we did oversight over them. DCS has ensured that 90% of the audit action plans were implemented in 2021-22. So these are some of the positives as a result of our oversight over both JICS and the Department of Correctional Services. Would go to the detailed recommendations. It will be on page 23. As members requested, Parliament should establish a separate committee for the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, as well as the Department of Correctional Services. This will ensure that sufficient oversight is conducted on the Department of Correctional Services, especially with the amount of budget that it receives. Or alternatively, if that cannot happen, a subcommittee to focus on correctional services should be established. Also, we recommend to the next committee to ensure that they make a follow-up with both the Department of Correctional Services and the Department of Health to discuss issues of inmates with mental illness incarcerated in correctional facilities. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Matabata. Members, any comments? This is a beef up of the report that we have already considered. I think members are happy. Mr. Matabata, thank you very much for the good work and your continuous support throughout the term. Thank you very much. We are extremely pleased, and it was an honor to have worked with the team as a whole, as this particular committee. You were responsible both as research and as secretariat for most of the heavy lifting that was done. So when you look at this work that was done by this committee, we should also take pride in yourself that these are In fact, this is your work and your tears. It was not easy, but you were able to pull through because of the commitment you have for your country. Thank you very much to the research unit, Mr. Matabata. You are now, you can't imprison you further.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Members, few issues. The first one is the one that Honorable has read.
Chairperson Ufrizile, is it us or you?
Can other members hear me?
Now we can hear you, Chair.
Okay. So when did you lose me, Honorable Chair?
After you commented on Mr. Matabati.
Okay. So at least you heard that good part.
Yes, I
And
have.
that is what Mr. Matabata listened to only. So no, I was saying that on the 13th, we will be shortlisting. In fact, we'll be interviewing the Deputy Public Protector. It will be on Wednesday. And all our reports are going on Tuesday. It will be declarations for all our reports. So it will take a bit of time because we've got quite a number of reports on the suspension and removal of magistrates. And what will be good about it, depending on the report we will receive from the Secretariat, because they are working on this meeting of the 8th with the Magistrate Commission, is that we will be able to report that this, in dealing with the challenges we have identified in how the magistrates' issues are being dealt with, this is what we would have done. We would have met with the Magistrates Commission, which we are this coming Friday. So it will flow in nicely, even with the reports that we will be doing to the House on Wednesday. We have already sent what is this thing? What do you call it, the questionnaire. We have already sent the questionnaire to the members, to those who have been shortlisted. So they'll be undergoing the screening process. We will keep you abreast on the developments so that we are able to do the final leg, which is the interviews next week. Bonani, can you take us through the preparations for Friday?
Before that, Chair, can I ask a question on that?
Yes.
Yes, it's just, by the way, is that the only 6 ones that we are going to interview? There are 6. Just it's a question. Are they still, we only have 6 and it's 1 day? Or it's 2 days?
There are 7. There were 8 and there's only 1 withdrawal. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it's an important question because I don't think that we did communicate that it's Advocate Marriott who has withdrawn. Marriott who has withdrawn. So we are left with 7 candidates to be interviewed. So that will only take 1 day.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Bonani? Bonani, are you there? Sia?
Yes, Chair.
Can you take us through the preparations for Friday?
Yes, Chair. We are currently sourcing quotation, finalizing the traveling arrangements for members to travel on Thursday. On Thursday afternoon, we'll meet at OR Tambo. We're going to try and communicate with members that we double check the arrival time, so that issues of transport, because we're going to use the same transport, those members will be flying in. Some of the members will be driving themselves, those are from Gauteng, to the accommodation. We are finalizing booking the accommodation in Pretoria. Then we're going to wake up on Friday, use the same car, drive to the meeting. Then members immediately after the meeting, those members going to the airport will go to the airport, and those will be in Gauteng will go home. So we're sleeping over on Thursday and waking up on Friday to the meeting, and members will then disperse after the meeting. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Any questions, members? Honorable Taylor?
Thank you, Chairperson. I will request that I be added on the number from Cape Town. I'm this Cape Town traveling to Johannesburg.
Okay. Honorable Breitenbach?
Thanks, Chair. Is that this Thursday and Friday?
Yes.
Oh,
The committee chose the 8th. We had two dates. It was the 8th and the 28th. And we said that because the 28th is the last day, generally parties would not be keen on releasing members to not to be in the house. So we chose the 8th.
no, so that's fine, Chair. Sorry, I'll just have to very rapidly rearrange my whole program. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Chair, can I make a follow-up on that one? We are attending Parliament plenary on Thursday. So it means that will be after Thursday. So just for us to go and sleep so that we can wake that side on the 13th to attend that. Is that what I understand?
No, Chair, let me assist the Chair. Thursday is virtual plenaries.
Yes.
Okay. I forgot that one. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Jansi, for that. Honorable Breitenbach, followed by Honorable Horn.
Where are we staying, Chair? Which hotel? After my experience in Richards Bay, I'm very circumspect about which hotel.
Very important.
I suspect it's the hotel in Richards Bay.
Oh, that's fine. I'll see you next year.
Chair, in the coastal team of oversight, Advocate Breitenbach staged a serious protest there in Richards Bay. So we don't want that bit of that.
I'm traumatized.
I think Sia will answer that, Honorable Horn.
Yeah, Chair, and
Chair, we chose the Sheraton Hotel in Pretoria.
The Sheraton, okay.
Okay.
Well. Oh my word. Okay.
Chair,
It used to be, but it's running out of electricity and everything. Just to warn you, I utilized it a lot for the magistracy until I had to evacuate it. It has problems.
Yeah, it's a bit tacky now.
They are there, they are listening.
They are in debt, and so I don't want to raise these things here.
Yeah.
Chair, I think you recognized me before all of the very Lani people of this committee started airing their views on hotels.
Yeah, no, my apologies. You're crowd out. My
Yeah.
apologies.
Yeah.
Can you proceed? Yes.
Yeah, can I ask, and I mean, I know of course, the full risks of traveling only in the morning, but at what time is our meeting with the Magistrates Commission due to start? Because I similarly, and I know Vunani has attempted to call me once or twice, and I've attempted to call him back, but as a matter of fact, we've not spoken yet. So I have committed to something in my constituency on Thursday evening, which I don't want to cancel or postpone now. So I'm asking, not because I don't want the benefits of staying in the Sheraton, but if at all possible, I will want to travel only on Friday morning.
What time is the meeting starting, Bonan?
Yes, Chair. No, I was just balancing the time of the chairperson. They said it's up to us. We can start at 9 or 9:30.
Can you start at 10?
At 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, let me communicate that with them now.
Okay. Mr. Honorable Hon, that is the time.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'll carefully consider it, and if all else fails, I will just have to push out my meeting. I will try do my best. Yeah, I will attend. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Members, are there any issues that you would want to raise concerning the travel?
No, Chair. We're fine.
We're fine. Honorable Janji, you will delete us tomorrow. It will not be a long meeting tomorrow. So that we are clear with the preparations for that table pester issue. Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned.
Recording stopped.